Hello, welcome to Living Right with Chris. My name is Chris Iswekin, and it's my pleasure always to welcome you to our weekly series. This is the last episode for the month of March, and it's been an exciting month for me and for all of us that are following. I know that beyond the excitement, it's been a time of learning, about the digital space that we are in. Okay, and we live in the digital age, and we must see all of these things because this is the reality of our times. So, for this week, I want to talk about algorithms, echo chambers, and bias. The core focus is on sound judgment and moral clarity in a curated digital world. You see, one of the least visible but most powerful influence on modern thinking is not people, not news outlets or influencers, but algorithms. What we see online is rarely neutral or complete. It is selected, filtered, and reinforced based on our clicks. And that is how algorithm works. It is curated to serve us based on history of our clicks, our likes, our watch time, and our past behaviors. You see, over time, these our past, clicks and likes and behaviors create echo chambers. And these echo chambers are spaces where our beliefs are constantly affirmed and rarely challenged. So this week exposes a subtle danger when comfort replaces truth, judgment weakens. So the key emphasis in our teaching today is in fivefold also. So the first is how algorithm shapes worldview. So algorithms are designed to keep attention, not to cultivate wisdom. No, they prioritize content that confirms preferences, provokes emotion, and sustains engagement. The result is a narrow view of reality. So, what algorithm does is that based on your previous likes and behavior online, it filters through all of the things that relate to whatever you have liked or followed before and begin to serve it to you. Not necessarily reality, but a narrow view of reality. So you do not see broadly, right? But it narrows you to a single worldview. So you don't see the world from a broad perspective. So what we must learn here is that what is popular in your field may not be true in the real world. So the second thing I want to talk about is echo chambers and intellectual isolation. So when people only hear voices that agrees with them, they become increasingly confident yet less informed. Because all you're hearing is same thing, no growth, same thing just within a circle. So they're not transformed, they're not informed, but they feel confident because they've heard it over and over again. But they're not transformed and they're not informed. Echo chambers hardened opinions and reduce empathy for differing perspective. So what we must learn here is that agreement can feel like truth, but it is not the same as the truth. All right. So the third thing I want to talk about is bias, the hidden lens. Everyone has biases shaped by culture, experience, pain, political affiliation, and beliefs. You know, algorithm magnifies these biases by feeding us content that reinforces them. So sound judgment requires that we recognize our own blind spots because algorithm actually help you to cover your blind spots because it projects to you only what it feels that you want to hear. So you only, keep getting repeated versions, you know, of what you know or what you have heard. And then you keep hearing and hearing it without having a broader perspective of life. So you become narrow minded. And this is a danger for world changers to think in a world that has become a global village, to be a world citizen, then you must think broadly and not narrowly. All right? Sound judgment recognize your own blind spots. Right. So the lesson to learn here is that self-awareness precedes wisdom. For you to be seen as wise, you must first be self aware. Self awareness comes before wisdom. So, the fourth thing I want to speak to is moral danger of one sided narratives. And I've tried to emphasize the fact that what algorithm does is that it brings just one narrative, one perspective to you and keep feeding you various, variants of the same narrative, right? And this is the danger that you become one-sided in your thoughts. In fact, your entire life becomes narrow. You're not broad. You're not. There's no depth, right? You can't speak to a variety of topics. You can just speak on a particular thing, and that is it. And this is one of our greatest undoing in these times that we are in. You see, one-sided stories simplify complex realities into heroes and villains, and this fuels division and justifies harsh judgment. Moral clarity demands nuances, balance, and humility. So, what we must learn here is that wisdom listens broadly before deciding firmly. So, we must listen to the broad perspective before we make firm decisions. All right. So, the fifth thing I want to speak to says choosing truth over comfort. The truth is that the truth is not comfortable. In fact, people say, commonly that the truth is bitter. And that is the truth. The truth is not nice. Okay? The truth most of the time is not comfortable. But living right in a curated world means intentionally seeking diverse, credible perspectives. Even when they're uncomfortable, it means that we must open up to these various perspectives even when they don't feel comfortable to do. So living right demands that even when it's not comfortable, we must open up to various perspectives. That will help us have broader, more depth in our conversation, broader worldview, and then make even more meaningful and impactful decisions. So what we must learn from this is that truth often stretches before it settles. So for this week, our challenge will be that one, follow at least one credible voice you often disagree with. And then two, question why certain content appears repeatedly on your feed. I've said that that is the power of algorithm. But look at it in the course of this week. Then ask yourself, am I being informed or am I being affirmed? I want you to think about this. When was the last time you changed your mind after learning something new? When was it? The fact is, algorithm feed preferences, not principles. Echo chambers reward comfort, not courage. Sound judgment in this digital age requires intentional exposure to truth, humility in learning, and discipline in thinking. Living right means refusing to outsource your conscience to a machine, refusing to outsource your conscience to algorithm. I want to thank you for being here. I believe that this month we've learned so much, you know, talking about the digital space as our new reality and how we can navigate it for the best possible outcome. I want you to give this video a thumbs up, like it. I want you to subscribe to this channel if you have not. Invite your friends and people around you, especially teenagers and young people. And it's been a wonderful experience having you in the course of this month. And until next month, I hope to see you here with me. Thank you and stay blessed.